One of the modalities I do here at my office is called allergy elimination, which we utilize applied kinesiology. It also might be called clearing. It's very good for chronic conditions. Some things that people have really tried for a long time to move out in their life, whether it be a food allergy or something on their skin, or some kind of mental, emotional, spiritual reaction that they want to have a more positive choice on. They seem to be caught up in something that might be a post-traumatic stress. So in this case with our patient today, she has dairy allergies, which is very common. And so when we do these, many times people can not have allergies anymore. But some people are just happy just to have less sensitivity to things. So it's not that they are going to eat dairy, but dairy is involved in a lot of foods, especially when you're on the go. And so they just don't want to have a full reaction to it where they know that they can't assimilate it very well, but they can tolerate it. And so by utilizing applied kinesiology, which we're going to do right now, or muscle testing. So to check Wayna's polarity, we want to, here, this is the positive effect, it's not moving, and then this is the negative effect. So it's not like good or bad, but we're creating the purpose or the foundation, the playing field of yes and no. So we have here, this is no. When we go here, this is yes. So when we hold a particular substance, relax, we'll be able to see if Wayna has a sensitivity to a particular allergen. These trays, I have many of them, whether it be viruses, bacteria, food, environmental. A lot of people come in here that have allergies. The best time to clear an environmental allergy, especially pollen, they can bring in the pollen itself, is to clear it in the outer season. So if you have a summer allergy, it's better to do it during the winter time, because typically after a treatment or clearing, you want to be away from that substance for at least 24 hours. So it's really hard to go back out into the pollen and take a break from it. So they're using aluminum as a conductor. Wayne is going to have her hand on there, because everything's vibration, everything is frequencies. When I do this with little kids that have any type of allergies, their parent can hold them and do this process. So even if you don't have a cooperating patient, you can still do this. So we're going to come here, and just to show you, Wayna will be above me, and I'm just using 2 fingers here. So we'll see here, there's no movement here. Very strong, so there's nothing going on. So I'll move over to these vials, and we notice that there's some substance in here. So then we're going to specifically go through these particular vials and see what specifically is coming up for her. Next one, please. And there's something in there, something that's going on there, and relax. And so there's a difference. Once the patient starts to do that, and I'm specifically raising the patient above me so she's stronger than me, and just using 2 fingers to show that I'm not using my muscle, because the idea is not to see who's stronger, it's just to see if she has sensitivity to it. So to keep this particular segment short, because we'll keep going through these vials, Wayna has sensitivity to mozzarella cheese. So hypothetically, at some time, possibly in her life, and we would put it through here. So this is connected on her skin to her body so we can clear it. But what I would use applied kinesiology and go through to say, when this came up for Wayna. So we'll just do part of this right now to say, so did this come up for her 0 to 10 years old? Is this 10 to 20 years old? So 10 to 20, so 10 to 15. 10 years old, 11 years old. 11 years old. So it happened at 11 years old, how the patient tapped their knees together, and that confirms it to the brain. And then we're going to ask, was it the springtime? It was the summertime. Tap your knees, it was the summertime. Okay, and then we'll go into specifically, is this related to a relationship challenge? Okay, and relationships she can be at school, she can be with her family. Is this related to her family? Is this related to some of her friends? Okay, is it some of her girlfriends? So some of her girlfriends. And so relax. And so we'll have a conversation and a dialogue in a private space, confidential space, where Wayna, even if she doesn't remember, it's okay. We'll go through at the time in her life when she was 11 years old, who's the first girlfriend that she thinks of? And then from that point, we'll go on and on and on and see what came up. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative experience, but it can be a misunderstanding or something about that this person took her jacket or whatever it is. And so once we find out what that was, that is a particular stress that occurred. So every time Wayna is around mozzarella cheese, it comes up as that time or that event when she was 11 years old with one of her girlfriends. And so we will go into that specifically. Once we know all that information, we'll use other modalities such as the emotional freedom technique or tapas acupressure technique to help clear that event in her life, so that instead of her reacting to an allergy, such as the stomach tightens up or the jaw tightens up, or there's a reaction, be like, you took my jacket, hypothetically, whatever the occurrence is, she'll have a different reaction of, sure, you can wear my jacket. You're my friend. You can give it back to me later. And so there's less stress on the body. So after 24 hours, when she comes back and ingests the mozzarella cheese or whatever vial we're clearing, she has a more positive response. And so she doesn't have that reaction or has less of a reaction. So this is applied kinesiology used to do a clearing for something that has been around in this patient's life for quite some time. Once we know what's happening, the stress can also create some biomechanical stress. So I'm going to have the patient stand up. They're going to face the door. And so what can happen is that anywhere in the body, whether it be muscle, tissue, ligament, fascia, it can create stress, and it being this mozzarella cheese reaction in this case. And so we'll go through using a Corin-specific technique to start to move specific areas, and I'll make biomechanical corrections because that mozzarella cheese stresses out the body. Along the vertebrae here are acupuncture organ points that are used that go to, and can make lungs. So if that particular area is being stressed with the lungs, you can get phlegm and congestion from the cheese because you can't process it. As we get down into this area, this is the spleen. The spleen is the digestive organ that is able to process and digest the cheese. As we go down here, we get into the large intestine, and to be able to eliminate that. And so we're basically utilizing this vibration, this is all vibrational medicine, to make biomechanical corrections that had stressed this patient out in her life.